how you do anything is how you do everything.
For sure. Combined into thinking bigger, better, acting harder, and going as hard as you can in life too. Man, we've only got one life, right? So like, why not go all in on it? You keep stacking those 1%ers every day or as often as you can, mate. And that's how you win. That's how I really see you win, man. The only person that can stop someone from being an elite level individual is themselves. You are the only person that can stop you from being the best at anything. That's it.
You can't be what you can't see.
Everyone walking out of the room 5 feet taller.
Correct.
And it's because, man, you're empowering them with the ability of what they can do.
This is just set the foundation. We're just getting warmed up. Honestly, we're just getting
You've warmed me up, mate. Let's go.
G'day, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Australian Property Investment Podcast. If you're multitasking, I'd probably suggest tools down. If you're at the gym, probably stop working out because we've called in the big dog, Sammy Gordon.
Aaron, mate.
It's a pleasure having you always, man. I feel like the vibration energy just goes up with you.
Mate, it's always a pleasure being here with you. And mate, if you're in the gym, keep working out because I'm going to give you an extra pump.
Mate, you got to turn around. Where's the Energizer battery go?
Mate, mate, it's life, man. Life keeps you energized, man. If you're going hard, you're training hard, you're living and trying to do big things and good things, man. It's you're always going, man. Yeah. So they're on recharge, constant recharge, and ready to go.
I agree. Mate, because I feel like that energy becomes really contagious.
Yes.
And I feel like it rubs off onto people. And energy is a real frequency. You be around people that are generally, I don't want to take it to a negative place, but those people bring down the frequency.
Yeah.
You go up a gear and it's like, mate, anything's possible. Strap on, strap people onto your back and like, let's go. And the journey gets a lot more enjoyable when people at the same energy frequency, they want to improve and better their lives as well. But it also puts a spotlight on you and go, how am I showing up as a leader, thought leader? The reason I say that is because, mate, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but I see your snippets, I see your shorts, and I love it. So
I appreciate
obviously your podcast, and it's probably close to home, right? You probably don't listen to a lot of property stuff either.
No.
It's too close to home. People tell me stuff, I'm like, awesome. But your top 1% property, your top 1% podcast is probably where I see a lot of value come out of that as well.
I appreciate that, man.
And it's just something that I wrote down. I wrote down years ago, like 1%. And so it connects with me because you go top 1% income, you go top 1% property portfolio, top 1% health and well-being. And you just go top 1% of just the fact that we live in Australia.
Yeah.
And how lucky we are to call this place home. And he starts to stack those on top of each other. You go, dude, with all this energy potential, why wouldn't you just kind of take it to another level?
Yeah. For sure, man, for sure. Mate, I love it. And if you throw one other thing on top as well, mate, like even talking about like doing the 1%ers, like all of it, man, combined into thinking bigger, better, acting harder and going as hard as you can in life too. Man, we've only got one life, right? So like why not go all in on it? And yeah, man, so I'm a big believer in it, mate. I appreciate the thumbs up around the top 1% as well. And
awesome.
It's cool, man, because like even people ask me around that, like, why do you do that? Because obviously it's not really that necessary for us to do it and to do this podcast. Funnily enough, it's actually I've rated higher on top 1% than I ever have on Scouting Australia. So we hit it as high as number 3 on the charts. So that was cool. But man, it's what I always say is like if I can take one thing from someone that I interview and get one little thing that I can apply to my own life or my journey or whatever, that little 1%er, man. You keep stacking those 1%ers every day or as often as you can, mate. And that's how you win. That's how I really see you win, man. So yeah, man, I love it. And I appreciate the feedback as well.
No, it's great. I think when you talk about doing those 1%ers, I'm not sure how you go with your team, but I have a view that, and it's very hard to scale this as a team, how you do anything is how you do everything.
For sure.
And that's a very hard, and my personal coach says, you don't have to be so intense, like even at home, with my 2 kids. And my wife is like, just chill out, man. They're 7 and 5.
Mate, it's funny you say that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No,
I know you're about to go into something. But my dad taught me when I was probably 5 or 6 or 7 or something like that, which is funny that you brought it up.
Yeah.
That exact point. How you do anything is how you do everything. And it's because on the weekends, man, I used to clean the sheds at my parents' farm, man. And I remember that literally those words were the words he gave me all the way back then. So he's like, if you do a shit job sweeping the sheds and clean the sheds up and all the rest of it, it's like that flows on with how we'll do everything else in life. So you do a great job in it. And man, that's what you'll carry into the rest of your life. You want to look good. You want to keep everything, whether it's keeping things clean or executing at the highest level, whatever it is. Man, it's a funny thing to bring up because which I haven't thought about. Like I had like a proper flashback just then of him saying it to me when I used to clean the shed. So I became obsessed with being a perfectionist of the sheds being super clean because I wanted to sort of show that level to my dad in terms of what he taught me as well. Correct. So man, it's a great point, man, 100%.
And as a parent, as a leader in the business, for example, that's behind closed doors. So no one's really going to see it.
For
so
sure.
no one's going to look at the shed and give you pats on the back for it, right? It's very different in business accolades. that's very outward, but that's the stuff that's done in private.
Yep.
So team, I'm like, keep your desk clean. Like small things like that, the small things that start to add up, because how I see it, and this will feed into stuff around property and business as well, but you start to negotiate on those very small things, and it's like everything's up for negotiation. Whereas you go, man, there's no gray areas. This is a black and white. This is the pride and presentation we have. No one's going to see our desk clean and neat. That's the standard. I go clean desk, clean desktop, keep everything neat and tidy, for example. And it's not that it becomes OCD or you become super anal about it. It's just, hey, man, this is a standard that we're trying to play at. And this becomes an attraction business that the inbox gets cleaned out. You know, voicemails get responded to on time. It goes back to this, you know, real paradigm of how you do anything is how you do everything, which sets a very high bar for yourself personally, for your team. Hard to bring in team that can all operate at that level as well. But I think for you, how do you keep that standard going within your team as you guys have scaled and grown as well?
Man, it's a great point. And it's a great sort of question to ask as well, because I think like one of the beautiful things about the team, man, is like over 90% of our staff are, well, I say ex, but like current clients, right? Ex-current clients, like they were clients before they came and worked for us. And so, man, I think they are attracted to the energy that I bring and the way that we operate as a team, as an individual, as a buyer's agency. And man, I think like when you can show up to every meeting with that energy, man, and that passion, and they can feel it, then they want to show it and project that as well. And man, I think it's just I don't know, man, it's the way that I operate. I've always operated with it. I even remember, man, like people still send me like random messages on Instagram and stuff going, man, I knew you'd do something with your life because you were so passionate about soccer. The way I used to play, man, like how much I used to get into it and how hard I used to go. They were like, I knew you would do something. Like you'd get parents who would just always go, I knew you'd go on to be something because of like the drive and the passion, the energy. And man, but it's the same thing whether you clean the shed or whether you rock up to soccer on a Saturday or you go and train, and everyone used to, like, this is giving me flashbacks for a second here because we go to training and everyone's like, fuck Sammy, calm down, man. I'll go, mate, like, Are we? What are we doing here? Are we training? Like, are we trying to be? Like this is training.
What
are we
doing here?
No one sees it on the weekend, but like what we do during the week is what dictates how we win. Man. Again, goes back to Muhammad Ali saying, like, preparation is the key to success. And all these things tie in, man. The 1%ers, the preparation is the key to success. How you do anything is how you do everything, mate. All these things flow on into each other to produce. And if you can do them again and again, or as often as you can do it, and show up as often as you can, and this is the thing with me and the team. Man, if I'm always showing up as much as I can, as close to my top as I can every single time, then, man, they're going to do the same because they're going to want to project the same. But if you rock up sloppy and you got no energy, like, they're going to project the same thing. But if you're going in and acting like that, and it's funny, like, with what you were sort of saying of the proximity of people like that as well, man. It's like we had the chat off air before we came into this of the summit 2 weeks ago, man. Like everyone walking out of the room 5 feet taller. Right. And it's because, man, you're empowering them with the ability of what they can do. And the only person that can stop someone from being an elite level individual is themselves. You are the only person that can stop you from being the best at anything. That's it. Or succeeding in anything. It's only you, And so it's like, it doesn't matter whether you're the poorest person or you're a single dad or you're a single mom or whatever it is. Like if you have the will, there will be a way and you can make it happen. Whether it's that and you're trying to invest and get to the absolute top, or whether you are a business owner and you've got to show up and perform from that end as well. Or whether you're an athlete and you take it easy at training, but then you want to be the best on the weekends. Like, how you do anything, say to everything. So if you don't rock up, you don't perform in these different times, or at least try, put those 1%ers in every time. How can you expect to be the best when it's game day? You know what I mean?
I love it.
So I love it, man.
This has just set the foundation. We're just getting warmed up. Honestly, we're just getting.
You've warmed me up, mate. Let's go.
This is it. You mentioned the summit, which I really want to double down on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Mate, what is this, the fourth time you've done this?
This is the third. So I did just the summit by itself in April last year, April 2024. Then we did the summit and the boot camp in November 24, and then this was a summit, the boot camp in November 25.
Yeah.
So third one, yeah.
Let me give you guys a picture here. Saturday, Sunday, this is in Brisbane. Over 1,000 people rocked up. It's got to be a pinch me moment, because even me, I was there at the first one, and to see the energy in the room, and I guess people's not only portfolios have grown, your team's grown, the room has grown. And it just kind of takes you along. It's like it just picks you up and takes you along. And I think you can refer to it as a cult, but it's like you can't, at that point, you can't go against the tide. The tide is so strong. You've got to come with the tide because everyone's leveling up. You talked about proximity is power. I look at it as you can't be what you can't see. And so when you bring people on stage, And time after time after time, and they're just going, these are the wins that I'm stacking. Look at what I've done the last 12 months. People in there, and I know people at my table because they're our clients, and I know they're earning far more than sometimes these people on stage are. They're capable of more, and there's some blockage, and we're going to get to this a little bit later. And they see these people on stage, and they're looking at themselves and going, why isn't that me? And that's a real powerful kind of, just to leave that in the air and just let that percolate for a little bit as well. But I'll come back to you, to pull that, curate that. Obviously, that's a quality team that has that. But your vision to bring that to life has got to be a pinch me moment, right? Where you get that many people that are dialed in the room.
It's a funny thing, mate. The first one, we'll give a shout out to my producer, Kel. She's my EA. She's the beast. Yeah. And man, I hit her with, I announced it. I announced it in, I think it was March last year, like the 1st of March, and was launching on April the 17th or something, I think was the date. And I hadn't told anyone. I was just like, I'm going to do this thing. And I just launched it. And then everyone just had to scramble to make this thing happen. And that was on the Gold Coast, man. The first time we had about 500 people in the room for that one. And then I think that was very surprising. I think I sort of, thought it would sort of, I don't know, man. I just didn't really think it was going to sort of be like that. And then the Sydney one was super powerful. Like, it was a massive room, man. It was stacked, and it was just so much energy. And then this year was different because you came out and it was like it was a proper stacked room, man. Like, it was over 1,000 people on the Saturday, almost all of them clients. And you just at different stages of their portfolio. Some just starting, some 10, 25 properties in, whatever it is. And I think sort of walking out and seeing that, it's a crazy thing, man. And I had so many messages come after of just thank you for still doing it and committing to people and still having such energy to pass on to other people to try and achieve what I've been able to go on and achieve myself as well. And so I think being able to do that, but the funny thing for me, man, is that's what still drives me. I don't need to be doing, I haven't been needing to do this for years, but we get people up on the stage and they're I was joking about it, man, but this is my background as well. It's battlers, you know what I mean? Getting out there and having a crack. And when you can impact those people's lives, man, in such a way financially that no one else seems to be able to do anywhere that I've seen, man, it's just gives you a real purpose. And when you have that sort of purpose, man, it's hard to really shake it. I think that's, people can feel it in the room. You know what I mean? They can feel it in the room, the passion, the energy, and then they see the results. And so I think when there's that sort of big culmination, you would have been there as well when we dropped the APS mentoring program you almost about the very end of the second day. Every time I walked back out on stage, man, it was buzzing. There was people standing up. There was, half the room was in, out. Everyone was talking, all the rest of it. Man, I came back in for the mentoring program to sort of deliver that and how we're going to do that in 2026. Man, the room was packed. Everyone was there. It was seated, and it was dead quiet. And I looked at Jimmy, and we were just looking at each other, and we're like, holy shit. And you probably remember I walked out and I was like, well, this is eerie, this is different. This is different. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, man. It's just committing to something different and something that will create significant change. And I think, man, when people believe that, and I think this is the issue. Too many people in Australia, they're so haphazard with investing. They just buy one or they buy two, or someone buys them saying, "Oh, hold this for 30 years," and you're like, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's that's why when we joke and you joke and so many people put up on their stories almost like a joke of the APS cult, but it is, man, because we believe it. You know what I mean? We believe it so wholeheartedly. It's not just a shooting from the hip. I'll buy this, I'll buy that. No, this is a strategic game plan, man, to retire people. It's not just let's buy a property or let's just run a business that buys property for people. It's not that. I've never seen it as that, because when I first started, I just wanted to do better than the BA that burnt me back in the day. And so then it just has really just kind of culminated into this thing that it now is, which almost is a cult, with the way that it is, people eating, living, breathing, and properly believing that this can be done.
Yeah, I think that level of conviction is so rare. Yeah. But also, and I've got to put it on the table, you probably don't need to work at this intensity anymore. And you've probably been around heaps of business owners. Their goal is to get out of business as quickly as possible. I see it in Brokerland. I was like, why have you got one foot out halfway through the game? That doesn't make any sense. There's no way you're subbing on a crap player for one of your best players halfway through a game. See the full 80 minutes through.
For sure.
And are you just looking for an exit already and your business is still on its way up? And I think that's one thing that I really admire about kind of your ethos and the way that you're approaching it, the game, which is, man, I could throw in the towel right now. I could have a good life, but I'm not, the purpose is bigger than that. Yeah, it's a rare trait, I'd say.
For sure, man. I think I've been lucky. We're all built by the experiences that we've had in life. And I remember, man, clearly being in my early 20s, trying to convince my parents to do house and granny flat deals in Sydney when you could buy the house for $250K and build for $90K, $80K, and you have these deals done for sub $350,000. They'd be worth $1.5 million now, renting for $1,500 a week for the pair, you know. And they didn't believe me, they didn't want to do it, and they were too scared and they were too nervous. And I feel very fortunate to have had the exposure of being a minimum wage earner especially in my teens, like making bugger all money. So I know the value of a dollar and I respect the value of a dollar. And then having proximity to my parents who were very fearful and didn't trust anyone. And I'm really glad they didn't, because there was no one out there that has produced the results. You know what I mean? And there's so many people, like even look at myself, this is only a few years after that, got fleeced by someone that I thought would have been reputable as well. And yeah, man, it's one of these things of just like, I'm very fortunate by those experiences that I've had that has shaped me and kind of shaped the passion that I have for getting the results for other people. That yeah, has really come from witnessing my parents working all the way through to 70, because they never went down a wealth creation, income replacement route. And then myself being on the other end of the spectrum, being in my teens and my 20s on a minimum wage, seeing no real way out, but then finding it through property. So I had that passion for obviously the young kids trying to get out there on that minimum wage, or barely making enough to make ends meet, and then being able to build something significant. And then also for the others at the very end of the spectrum who have no real hope or no one else really showing them how to do it properly. And then obviously wanting to help everyone I can in the middle as well. It's kind of that perfect, I sort of see it as that perfect sort of experiences, synergy, exposure is probably the best way to put it, the exposure of both ends of it to then bring it all together in terms of what it's really all about. And the funny thing is, man, I haven't needed to work for years. Well over 100 plus property portfolio, 3 supercars owned outright, like everything I could ever have wanted, I've massively surpassed it. I work harder now than I've ever worked, but I'm more driven now than I ever have, because I can see the results of what is possible if you do this thing properly. That's what juices me up, man. What am I going to go do? Sit on a beach in Europe for 3 months? What am I going to do, man? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Matt, I'll get tanned. I'll
come up with the next business idea is what you're
I probably would. But mate, I'll do that on a weekend away. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need 3 months off to do it. I'll do it with a week off or a weekend off or something like that, because I'm still thinking about it all the time.
High performers won't switch off.
Yeah, that's it.
They're never
man.
happy
That's
sitting
it.
still.
Yeah.
I joke with my little brother, he's got restaurants and everything, and you're very much the same. I sit next to you guys, but I can still feel you guys going fast.
Yeah.
I can hear you guys thinking. Got to my little brother, man, just, and not to slow down.
Yeah.
But play the long game, which is don't burn yourself out too quickly.
Yeah.
But obviously you want to temper that by seizing every single opportunity you can. And I think that's that real tempering of the energy there as well. And you mentioned before, look, you don't have to do this. It's funny because effectively APS's books are shut, right, for new clients. So for you to be out there beating the APS drum would almost be, it's counterintuitive, right? But I think that where the message needs to be heard is, okay, cool, APS is shut. There's a few other BAs, maybe not shooting at the level that you guys are at, for example, but take some action.
Yeah.
Like, take the message, which is take some action. The next part of my question
I will say one thing just before you go on that, just if you remember your question, but man, the books aren't shut right now. So they were shut for majority of this year, but we have reopened.
Okay.
But there's a difference in what we're doing now of mentoring clients effectively, obviously having the priority piece and needing to be a client and an APS member before you can become a mentoring client. But we have reopened them this year as well.
Beautiful
so I just thought I'd jump in on that.
I appreciate
as well.
you clearing that up as well. That's great.
Because I know so many people have been messaging us for ages, like, when are the books going to be reopened? Well, we've reopened them maybe 3 months ago. So,
and this is that part where, I mean, again, there's a you're not short on new inquiries.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a beautiful part of being able to sort of select. People come through and they go, why should I pick you? And it's just like, well, why should we let you in?
Yeah.
It changes the dynamic, because when we bring someone, we aren't tick and flick. If you're looking for someone, just trial a bit, go try someone else. If you want someone that actually wants to take a genuine interest in your portfolio and seeing you win, that's who we want to work with. And that's the beautiful dynamic that we now are able to have, because the results are proven with what we've done. And I think the commitment that we have to our clients is very clear to see.
Where I was going, this other question was, you really champion, you said, here for the battlers.
Yep.
For example, being average income earner, I understand that plight. I'd say there's another cohort, which is what I call Henrys. And I speak a lot about it
What is it, sorry?
Henrys.
Henrys,
So
okay.
high earners, not rich yet.
Okay.
So let's take, for example, a household income of $350.
Yeah.
Yeah? Pretty good.
But
I'm telling you now, mate, they don't feel rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I say to them, hey, mate, go and speak to the guys at APS, for example, and buy an investment property, and we're looking at sub 600, their first thing is they turn their nose up at it because they're like, I'm not going to buy these cheapies. And I'm like, mate, well, we can't keep stacking the blue chip properties. We're going to run out of borrowing capacity, or you can't afford to hold it, even at that really high income level. There's a lot of lifestyle leakage that I see. There's a lot of outward appearances. It's the least lifestyle is effectively what I tend to call it. And it's not me being harsh. It's just someone's got to call this out. Yeah. Everyone's happy to punch the ticket. The brokers are happy to take the deal because they're good owner-occ deals that, $2 million plus. They're happy to do the vehicle asset finance.
That's why they don't feel rich.
And it drives me nuts. And it's hard for me to say this. I've got to be respectful. But it's hard for me to say this without conviction going, mate, I don't do asset finance. I will never finance vehicles, for example. You're living beyond your means. There's high income, but the lifestyle's crept up to the point that you've got negative cash flow now. At what point do we draw a line and stand and going, enough's enough? The way to hedge your high income is to go and buy investment properties, plural, not one and done. And the challenge that they've got is they think they've got to buy in a inner city blue chip area, which is I think where I feel like I really resonate what you're saying around blue chip. For those that haven't heard the message, how do you articulate that to Henrys that are on high incomes and think they've got to buy inner city blue chip location?
For sure. Man, kill the ego. It's as simple as that. You want to buy blue chip, you've got an ego. It's as simple as that. Let's run the numbers of like the way these things work. The reason why you don't feel rich is because that property costs you $50,000 a year. Yeah, like that style of asset, man, is never going to make you feel rich. It goes up by $100,000 a year, mad, but you're feeling that bleeding of the $50K a year every week coming out of your account, or every month coming out of your account as well. And it's purely an ego play, or it's an uneducated play, because there's better options and better opportunities out there as well. I think, man, you said something like at the start, which sort of like it like pricked a little thing with me, where you said like trying to, you got to be respectful. And man, I know you are very much like that. You don't want to like ruffle people too much, but at the same time, you're also in a way also a straight shooter because you want people to get the truth, right?
Yeah, correct.
And I think the simple fact, man, is they have to kill the ego, and the simple fact is you need to move through this. What I was going to say with that is I almost think it's disrespectful to not tell someone the truth about what they're doing wrong. You know what I mean? Like if you have the knowledge base around it, which I know you're trying to do, but you're trying to do it in a respectful way. But the thing is, man, sometimes what people need is a slap in the face to go, kill the ego. This is the reason why these properties work best, or like why these will make you allow you to build wealth and feel wealthy, as opposed to buying one asset that's going to drain the hell out of you. So you can tell someone you own a unit in Paddington or whatever, but like, what is it actually going to produce for you and put into the portfolio? And I think like stacking the deck in specifically like your blue collar areas, which are much more affordable to hold, your capital growth rates, it might be the same dollar value, but if you buy something at 1.8 mil, going up by $100,000, you're getting bugger all, you're getting not even 5% cap growth, or say 5% cap growth. But if you can get a property at $500,000-$600,000, it goes up by $100,000 a year, you're doing 20% plus capital growth. Plus it's costing you significantly less. So man, like I always look to stack the deck with those style of assets. And it's an interesting thing because like a lot of people are listening to this who might be that income earner of your Henrys, of your 300, 400, $500,000. They're like, whatever, Sammy, like you don't know what you're talking about. It's just like, man, it doesn't matter whatever I earn, I will never be that style of investor. I still stack the deck with $400,000 to $700,000 assets. That's what I still buy into my portfolio today. And man, it doesn't matter what I buy, how many cars, whatever house, whatever holidays, whatever it is, all the rest of it. That is what got me out of being a super low income earner. And I'm not going to turn my back on it just because now I make a different amount of money. Man, there's proof in the pudding from that, and there's proof in the results of that. And the simple fact, man, is like, my mind just keeps going back to this. You need to kill the ego. It's what will actually get you out of that position. The other huge piece is kill the dream of the primary residence now, right? So people making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, they think they need to keep up with the Joneses and buy that asset, right? If you work out the numbers of the Rentvesting model of renting that $2 million house or $3 million house or more, you can actually rent significantly more than that and pay less in rent than it would be from a mortgage perspective of what a $2 million house would cost you in mortgage versus a $5 million house in rent. You'd be able to rent it for cheaper than it would cost to own the $2 million, $2.5 million primary residence to buy it outright. So many people, man, they go down that avenue of thinking, because I make this money and all my friends have done this, I need to go buy the primary residence. And the beautiful thing we've seen, you probably saw it and heard it so much at the summit, the summit and the boot camp, man. so much of the room going, I'm selling the primary residence. We're going all in. We're going to cash out the $1 million and get all the debt back, and we're going to position it properly. Put this thing out there in the marketplace and get it working for us properly. Because at the end of the day, man, the banks don't look at your primary residence as an asset. It's a liability. It's a non-income producing debt that will keep you chained to that $350,000, $400K a year job with no path out, because you're capped with servicing and borrowing and being able to keep moving forward. So it's easy, man. The Henrys out there just need to kill all the old beliefs, kill the ego, and adopt a new strategy that actually is a proven product to keep you moving forward and actually build the wealth. You should not be making that money, man, and not feel wealthy. Like, you should be building considerable wealth, mate. You should be buying 2, 3, 5 deals a year. You've got the capacity to do it. Correct. But are you willing to sacrifice and not buy the shit that everyone says you need to buy, and all the people in your cohort and your income earning and your parents, are you willing to buck the trend? Because have they achieved what you want to achieve? And if the answer is no, they're not the people to try and keep up with or to take advice from. You take advice from those who have done what you want to do.
I love it. Yeah, it's a very hard. I find it hard to get this message to land, because every broker's their best friend, because it's such a high owner upline, and they want to win that deal, for example. Sure. And for me, I've had to pull the gloves off in some meetings and go, this might cost me the deal, and it probably will. I'm going to give it to you straight. Yeah. And I think that needs to simmer a little bit, because it's such a zig when everyone's zagging message, right? To say either become a rent investor or rein in the lifestyle when the financial planner's asleep at the wheel, the accountant's asleep at the wheel, for example, and you and I come in just going, mate, stack the deck, go and buy as many investment properties as you can. The other part here is go and build it. You're not working for a 30-year mortgage, which you'll never pay off. Pay off the mortgage in 8, 10 years. If that's what investing does to you, then mate, mission accomplished. You're mortgage free within 8 years instead of 30 years. Like, if that's not a reason to invest, then I don't know what is.
100%. Man, the other huge piece of it is, okay, so the first things first, as you were talking through, I didn't want to interrupt you, but people should just go listen to the podcast on Rentvesting.
Perfect.
Go listen to a podcast, Rentvesting. Even just go Scouting Australia podcast on Rentvesting. Just search that term on Scouting Australia podcast, or I don't know if you've done a couple on here as well, but that's the best way to get a real breakdown on the difference in terms of what it can do for you. And then, man, the second part of that equation as well is most people can only afford to buy, like, what they can afford to buy right now isn't the dream primary residence, especially if they're doing 300, 400, 500 grand a year. It is not enough, especially in the position they're probably in right now with capital, to be able to buy what they really want. Yeah. So for me, man, if you can't buy that dream primary residence, there is no point buying it now, because all it's going to do is be an anchor and hold you back with what you're actually possible in doing. And so if your dream primary residence is a $5 million home in wherever, Sydney, Gold Coast, Melbourne, whatever it is, you aren't going to be able to afford that 99 times out of 100 starting out now, or on that, let's say you're 30s, 40s, whatever, going to buy that now. Or if you do, you're buying it with a $3-4 million loan, which is massive for that income. But if you can only buy $2-3 million and your dream home is $5 million plus, it's not the right time to buy. Invest, build the capital base, and then buy it when you can do it at 50-60% deposit, something like that. Man, and build that investment portfolio to get you to that level. But if you try and do them both, the primary residence is just going to be a massive anchor.
Well, you can't scale a portfolio, because the first thing that we're seeing is cash flow hemorrhaging, 100%. Right? So as they're scaling a portfolio, the number one question that I've got in 2025 is, how do these people maintain portfolios and grow it when we just seem to be leaking and hemorrhaging at 2 or 3, and they feel like, mate, the equity's there, the borrowing capacity's there, and all they're worried about, and I can't sugarcoat it, all they're worried about is the cash flow leakage. Yeah, right. As opposed to seeing, on paper, these properties have gone up, but I don't feel any richer as well.
Man, I think you've got to do a cost versus return analysis. It's the easiest way to do it. Okay, sweet. Let's say you're running a property in the example, right? And it's costing you because the interest rates are quite high right now. Some of the best markets to invest in right now as well are quite low yielding. So a property might be costing you $10,000 to $20,000 per annum to hold it, right? And then that's in blue collar. So if we go blue chip, we're talking like $50K plus. I've seen some crazy examples, but maybe 10 to 20K per annum net negative, depending on the asset. It could be 5, 10, 20, whatever it is, right? But you need to work out, okay, for one, what discount am I making on the way into the asset? Am I making any discount, right? Whatever. That's the first thing to sort of throw into the equation. But then what is it also making me in terms of a capital growth perspective every year? So if you're running a cost versus return analysis, now a lot of the clients that are up on stage with me on the weekend as well that have scaled a massive run, 6 to 8 properties in 12 months. on average Australian incomes, if they've done that, like they're probably running between, they could be 50, 60K per annum net negative, right, in their portfolios. Now, they're doing that in the average Australian income, let's say 200K combined household. If they're doing that, man, they're sacrificing hard to be able to do that, yeah? Someone at 300 plus is definitely going to be able to do it. Yeah. But even at the 150 to 200, man, if you're pushing hard enough, you're willing to do it and sacrifice for a 12, 24-month window, definitely possible to build and scale a portfolio like that. Now, those guys, man, when we ran so many of their numbers, so many of those clients were up between 600, 800, $1 million in a year. In a year. Do you think they're caring about the 50 to 60K that it costs them in negative cash flow to hold that portfolio? Or are they looking at that, even if it was 500K of, let's say, 8 properties, they do 40K a year each, which is going to be more than that. But let's even just say that. It's 500, let's say a 500K example. In some scenario like that, sorry, I know my numbers are off there. Let's say you're 10 property, 8 10 properties, whatever, 50, 60K per annum, which is literally just 10% capital growth over that. It costs you 50 to 60K a year. They're not looking at the 50 to 60K a year. They're looking at the 500, 600K in equity gain. Yes. Yeah, it's a cost versus return analysis. And in that analysis, again, let's say the 500 versus the 50, it's a 10x return. It's you know, you're 10 times in front of what it's costing you per year, which is also tax deductible, versus what that capital growth is and how that portfolio has also grown. The crazy piece is when you obviously double down, or even if you let them tick over into the following year, most of the time you have rents increase, even if that was all you did, and then the market properly starts at run, and instead of doing 10% capital growth a year, what if it does 20% plus? All of a sudden for that same, let's say 50K a year, those assets might go then jump, and if they do, let's say a 500K asset does 20% worth of growth, now does $100,000 worth, man, are we now sitting at a 20x return on that 50K a year? And I think that's where you really got to work it out and factor into the equation, that cost versus return analysis of what something's costing you. Because, man, in so much of my early phase and so much of the early accumulation phase that so many people go through, it is cash flow heavy, like in terms of in the reverse against you in the red, and it's, man, not until you go through your first phase of consolidation that we can then potentially transform some of that either into cash deposits on assets, into more growth properties, or cash deposits on let's say commercial cash flow plays. When that sort of stuff gets factored into the equation, then all of a sudden you have that shift in the portfolio. And I went through that at about 7 to 8 properties in. I was sitting about 20K per annum net negative. I went through a sell down. I transitioned all the cash out of that one sale into 2 high cash flow assets. I went from it was about 15, 20K down to about 50K up in a 12-month window. And so it's figuring that out, accepting that might be a 2, 3, 5 year window to get through to that point, looking at cost versus return analysis, but then having the bigger picture in mind, especially when you're going to go through the consolidation and the reacquisition after that phase as well. So
but
cost versus return analysis.
Sam, we never sell property.
Hey?
But we never sell property.
That is the worst comment I've ever heard. That's the worst statement there is, man. You never want to sell property, man. Don't expect to retire anytime soon.
Yeah.
Sell downs, consolidation.
Buy and hold for I mean, this is, man. I think we've said it a lot on here, is the adages that are a little bit outdated, and, you know, especially.
A little bit outdated. Brother, that's fucking dinosaurs, man. Yeah. That's prehistoric shit. Like, you're not selling down, man. You're so far behind the game, it's not funny. You get caught with borrowing, you get caught with the equity you can't extract, portfolio you can't build, banking the profit that you should make out of a deal. The biggest thing that kills people's investing journeys, you know, if you'd bought in 2000, 2003, doubled your money in Sydney, and then if you held it until 2013, the market did nothing for 10 years. In that 10 years, if your properties were costing you 10, 20 grand a year each to hold, plus maintenance costs, plus interest costs, not interest costs, but inflation eating away your profit as well. By the time you get to the 10-year run and it's about to start a cycle again, you're probably at break even. So people don't realize, man, if the market does nothing for a 5 to 10-year window, you're going to break even by the time the market starts its run again. But banking the profit, clearing the debt, what else can you do with it, man? It's game changing. That's prehistoric shit, man. Like I laugh when people say it, because it's not a strategy, mate. It's not a strategy. It's something that people who've never done what you want to do have touted. Because people are saying buy and never sell. They've never retired from property unless they're like fucking 70 or 80. Because you need so much time up your sleeve to pay those things off. It just doesn't work, man. It's not even a broken strategy. It's not even a strategy. Literally, it's prehistoric, mate. Yeah, you can see how I get fired up about this.
No, I love it. And that's something that we've had to, again, when we talk to clients about that, you go through an accumulation phase.
For sure.
We build it up. Now you get to a consolidation phase. Like, okay, which properties we're starting to sell down? And straight away the walls have gone up. But we never sell. I was like, I know that's what you're being told, and it's like, how do we then, free up borrowing capacity? Well, that property's done its job. It's done its heavy lifting. Yes. What got you here won't get you there, for example. And again, we hear about shifting perspectives. These are deep-rooted beliefs that people had in and around property, for example. And to shift that, like what we're trying to do here, this takes a lot of education, takes a lot of rewiring as well.
Yeah. Man, I think it's a great way to put it, the rewiring. And I think the issue is a lot of people, the old adage for all these years was buy 10 properties, sell 5, own the other 5 outright, right? The biggest issue most people get wrong with investing in Australia is they think growth assets and cash flow assets are the same, or that when you get a growth asset, you paid off. No, a growth asset is in the portfolio to grow. Once it's grown, man, it's done its job. If that growth market is done, sell that baby, man. Bank the profit, clear the debt, move on. Cash flow assets, man, are completely different. If you look at net yields on a growth asset, you're normally at like 2% net. You go into a good cash flow asset, man, we're typically talking like 6% net. We're talking 3x the return on the same investment. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a crazy, crazy return, man. And at 2% net, you're probably not that far ahead of holding costs, especially with maintenance and everything else going on, property management, everything else, council rates, all the rest of it, man. You're so close to breaking even as it is. It's why the strategy doesn't work. Growth properties are in there to grow. Cash flow assets are in there to produce income over the long term. And that's what we want to own, man, at a very low debt level over a long period of time.
Which is a big challenge because at the start of the journey, everyone's going, I need this property to wash its face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, at 90% lend, at the rate cycle, at the rates that we're at, that property's under market rent, there is no way this baby's going to be cash flow neutral, let alone positive. And I'm like, why don't you look at your income becoming your cash flow and you look at your properties becoming the capital growth that are compounding? So why you go to work, this bad boy's compounding. And again, that's a message that hasn't landed enough to become mainstream because they're going, well, my income's capped. I'm like, no, it's not, man. Go and work harder, talent stack, build out your own professional development
For sure.
as opposed to your own property development, become more valuable in the market. And that's the cash flow that can come in and you become in demand more than, the property becomes in demand sometimes as well. And that, again, takes a fair amount of rewiring for some people.
For sure, man. I think people would say,
which is where some of the top 1% podcasts, you take those and you go, how do you take that? You may not run your own business, but you are a business in a business when you're PAYG.
For sure.
Yeah, sorry, mate, keep going.
No, sweet, man. I think it's flipping the scripts, man. Like, you want the results of the few. If you want the results of the few, man, you can't do the actions of the many. You know what I mean? Like you have to do what the minority does to outpace and to beat the majority, right? So I think, man, when people realize that, they've got to realize that mainstream form of investing, education, philosophies, man, they're all broken. There's a reason why 92% of investors get stuck at 2 or less properties. It's because they're all doing the same thing that doesn't work. So it's flipping that stuff on its head, man, and then really understanding what's possible if you actually challenge those old adages, those prehistoric beliefs.
Absolutely. Mate, I've got a list of questions that early investors ask.
Okay.
However, what I am going to do is I'm going to stop it here.
Okay.
The reason is we're going to drop this as part 2.
Okay.
Because what happens is I get this feedback from people. They start to listen to this and their mind goes into overdrive. They can't remember it all.
Okay.
So listeners, we're going to stop it here. I'm going to answer all the questions that our early investors have asked us to us, Big Sammy. If you've loved this episode, tune in for part 2 and we're going to keep this conversation going.